This is a weed podcast with Adam. He was actually the shipping manager for THCXtract, a very reputable company. Wink, wink, my company. And now he is actually a budtender at a dispo, like a legal dispo. Yeah. So he basically moved from the hemp industry over to real weed, the Zaza weed.
Yeah, I made the transfer. I switched to the dark side. No.
Oh, Mike, a little closer.
Oh, I switched to the dark side a little bit, I guess. No, but yeah, I worked for Chris for a while, and we had a really successful operation going. I felt like for a really long time, but After a while, I just realized like I definitely want to get into working in a dispensary if I can, and I have the opportunity to, so I took it. But
well, you got a degree in weed, right? Like,
yeah, I went to Amsterdam University online after COVID started, and I took online classes. And people, it's a lot easier to get into than you think. I mean, a lot of people don't think it's as easy as it is, but it's not complicated.
Yeah. See. That's interesting. Like so what do you exactly, and just for anyone watching, so THCXtract is obviously a hemp company. So with hemp, and you don't need a weed license. And that's good because in Illinois, for example, you need a lot of money to be able to get a weed license.
Millions.
So, millions. Like, for example, if you look at licenses being sold, like already awarded licenses, they're being sold for $3 to $8 million for the dispensary.
So hang on, I want to touch on that real quick because that's a really interesting thing about the cannabis industry that just like is a blatant eye-opener to anyone. If they learn this fact about the cannabis industry, it should make you scratch your head a little bit because you can apply for the lottery to get your dispensary license. You get licensed to open a dispensary, but if they grant it to you, if you win that lottery, you can just turn around and sell it to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
It's just like you can put in as many, put your name in the hat as many times as you'd like. So if you have the money for it, and you can win it, you can turn around and sell it to anyone that doesn't want to join the lottery. They just want to buy the license off of somebody. And once you learn that, you're like, wow, that's just rigged American capitalism for you.
No, for sure. Because how do they decide? How does the lottery work? Like, we don't know technically, and it's also inflating the price because
I do know it's not so much of a lottery, and I know they do prefer. There is a
factors that up your score or something.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a person of color or a minority in any way, shape, or form, they actually give licenses out to them first and foremost.
Almost like more names in the hat, basically.
Yeah.
More entries, I guess you could say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. So you switched from hemp to the dispensary side.
Yeah, I was kind of managing the warehouse for THCXtract for a while, and
right. You even hired like all your friends.
We had a lot of employees in there,
dude, because we went viral.
On TikTok,
we literally had 1,000 sales in like a weekend, and we had to.
There's that one TikTok of like going around the bin at the post office of us just pouring like hundreds and hundreds of eighths and carts and stuff in the mail. Dude,
that post office hated us. Like they were actually pissed. We rolled up like with like 5 boxes of orders.
Just of weed.
But they were cool with it. They're like, yeah, well, it's hemp, it's legit, and
I mean,
you hired all your friends too to help. Like that, like freaking saved me. Like everyone would have gotten late orders. If it weren't for you, bro.
If you were doing all those orders by yourself, I mean, I don't think that you would have been able to.
No,
it just wouldn't have been possible.
It literally would have taken me a week doing it by myself.
Yeah,
like for 1,000, or I'd have to be up like 24/7.
Well, I mean, it was interesting because I was working this normal sales job with Chris before COVID, and then after COVID happened, I just remember we went to Chipotle one day on lunch, and you were just like, dude, I really I want to be able to sell weed legally. I just don't want to get arrested. I want to be able to sell CBD or get my name, get in the industry in some way, shape, or form. And I was just like, dude, fucking do it. You know what I mean? And you already had the CBD extract Instagram, and then I think I just remember you posted your website, you started going and doing a couple of orders, and the next thing I knew, thousands of orders were rolling in every single day, and then we had to. I remember being at one point, like I had the sales on my phone. I could just hear like the sales going off. Ka-ching, ka-ching. I was just like, shit, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, dude. I literally had to turn off the Shopify notifications. Just it's like too distracting, and people like start asking like, "What is that? What's that noise? Like, what's that cha-ching, bro?" It's like, yo, just chill. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah, dude, that was a dope ass time though. But then, So what do you think about the dispo job you have now? Like, what is like? How do you like that?
I think it's really interesting. It kind of translates really well to kind of like what I was doing for you before. You know, I mean, keeping track of a warehouse full of inventory, just making sure that you're getting the people what they ordered. You know, like match, like it's picking orders. Same thing as what we were doing, but instead of putting it in a mail package, you're just selling it at a register.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're dealing with physical people.
Yeah.
Instead of just like a number or a name and address on a screen.
I mean, but the thing is, you know, some days when like you're working in the vault, for example, at the dispensary, you might be the person that's just sitting there picking orders all day, putting them in the cabinet so they're ready for your customers to pick up. And that's kind of like basically what we did, because we're just kind of putting it in a package opposed to like a paper bag. Right. You know what I mean? And then people come pick it up, or when we were doing it with you, we were just dropping it off at the post office and sending people their weed in the mail.
Weed in the mail. Oh man. We love weed in the mail.
There was this one song that Chris made. It's on his YouTube channel, and it's the Delta 8 Anthem.
Yeah, Delta 8 theme song.
Yeah.
You can check it out. I'll leave a link down below for the Delta 8 theme song. I'm surprised that never like caught traction, because that's the most ridiculous.
There's like a couple thousand views on it, I think.
Yeah. I'll repost it.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up. I wanted to pull it up. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be out there, but somewhere in the vault, there's a hidden verse on that track for me.
Yeah, you dropped a verse on that. Yeah, you do have a verse. I'll release the alternate version, potentially. We'll get your approval first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, man. So, I mean, in terms of like, what is your honest thoughts on like Delta 8, bro? Like,
well, the Delta 8 industry, I think it was something that is kind of, it was produced naturally from the state of cannabis being illegal. You know what I mean? And
people want stuff.
People want cannabis and can't get it in these states, in a lot of these states that are still illegal. And I think it's, you know, people need cannabis. I think it's a human right. I think people should have access to it wherever they are, whoever they are, because there's a lot of people that suffer from debilitating diseases and conditions that need it. And I see them on a daily basis. You know, when people think about working at a dispensary, you know, they think like, oh, it's just a bunch of punk kids coming in there trying to buy some weed. But like, no, it's like old ladies and your aunt and your grandmother that their pain medication doesn't work for them, or they don't want to get hooked on pain medication, or, you know, like it just doesn't work anymore for them. So they switch over to cannabis, and then I see them come back in every single time, and they tell me that recommendation that you gave me last week was fantastic. Like, you know, and that is so rewarding and so fulfilling. And that's the aspect of the business that I don't think I got to get from doing the CBD online shop, but at the same time, like, it still put my foot in the door and made me
you basically
get
like
ready for it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, people, it's just like, why is it illegal, bro? Yeah. Like, it's just it's like literally kills less people than alcohol, like literally.
Yeah.
Like, alcohol actually kills, I don't know, a lot of fucking people. And weed, like, what? It makes you like lazy. In some cases, it can make you schizophrenic, potentially, if you have that genetic predisposition or whatever. But I mean,
I've definitely known people to not respond to weed the best, but I also know people that have like had crazy hallucinations because of alcoholism. And
you can hallucinate from alcohol?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really?
When you get deep enough into alcoholism, crazy shit happens, man. And I've heard,
like, what? What do you mean? Like,
well, I mean, I've sat in on a couple of like AA meetings in my life, not because I had any personal problem myself, but I've just heard stories, you know what I mean, of people that are in the program and that like work like an AA program, And, you know, like when you have withdrawals from alcohol, you have such a high tolerance to alcohol, because you can get a tolerance to alcohol too. And, you know, if you keep pushing that, you can eventually, like, I've heard of people having audio visual hallucinations because.
Really?
Oh yeah, you're poisoning your body. Yeah. Whereas with cannabis, you have a system in your body that's designed to intake cannabis. You have an endocannabinoid system for a reason. Whereas with alcohol, you're literally just poisoning your liver.
Yeah. Because it's like the compounds in weed are mimicking what's already naturally in your system, where the alcohol, it's not like it's a nutrient or like
no.
It's literally poison. Like it's I think it's depriving oxygen in your brain as well. That's how it kills your brain cells.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, I agree. Like weed, it's just like, come on, dude. Like,
I'm really hoping at one point we see weed bars instead of regular bars, because like.
There's a weed bar in Wheeling, Illinois.
In Wheeling?
Where I'm like near Wheeling, so I see it all the time.
It's just, to me, the fact that you can think of like one is like the problem.
Like, yeah. No, because literally like I saw a news article on Facebook, like new weed bar in Illinois. And then everyone's like, oh, like and then the company that owns the weed bar is literally like a big corporation that owns like 100 restaurants in the state. It's like, oh, of course, a big fucking corporation owns it, not a small mom and pop. A small mom and pop, or even a Chris 420 Blaze It like me, can't afford that, bro.
Right.
Like literally, like you could technically, hypothetically, without regulation, open a weed bar. If you said, I want to open a weed bar, let me rent a place for $2,000 a month, a hole in the wall,
let people consume cannabis freely.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. I think it should be allowed to do, especially when there are places where you can openly consume alcohol and like be fucking belligerent. And you know what I mean? Like, whereas like with weed, I feel like it just would kind of create a culture of like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? How are you? I hope your day was all right today, man. And
it would be more chill. It would be less problematic overall. Like net problematic would be less than alcohol. And the license for alcohol to serve it, I think, is like $750. Yeah. Like that is so, for a drug that is worse compared to weed, which is not that bad at all. It's quite good. And that costs within the millions. Like it's just bruh. Like. Yeah. I don't know, but it's like I'm preaching to the choir at this point. Like, you know this, I know this, a lot of people know this.
I think at this point, you know, we're talking about an industry that isn't about the people anymore. I mean, we've gone through the advocation periods in the 60s, the 70s, and I feel like at this point, we've kind of just like laid the groundwork for a corrupt capitalistic corporate system in America, and unfortunately that's just kind of like the reality I see it in. And I really hope that we can, like, in my opinion, like, I'm a Budtender at a dispensary, right? If weed was the way that I think it should be, I would not have a job. Straight up, because I think everyone should be able to grow it in their backyard.
Right.
So why the fuck should I be getting paid, you know, X amount of dollars per hour
at the dispo?
When you should be able to just grow this shit next to your zucchinis at home.
Well, right. I think the idea that if everyone could grow their own weed, they wouldn't go to the dispo is not necessarily true, because the market will create exotic offerings. I don't want that backyard weed. I want that exotic, like, dispo weed. Yeah, so there would be a market for that, but that's not what that is currently. Currently, it's the dispo is your only option.
Yes.
And therefore, they control the prices. You're paying $60 an eighth, $100 for a half gram cart. And will you get arrested for buying and possessing that? No, that's great. But, like, there's the capitalistic aspect.
I think the dispensary should be all top shelf flower. The dispensary should be all like, look at this, you can't get these devices. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like cartridges and stuff. Like, because
it's such a good product that it's hard to produce that.
Yeah, concentrates. Like, not everyone is going to be able to make their own concentrates or live resin at home.
Right.
But they can grow their own cannabis at home.
And not everyone has a laboratory extraction facility to create these awesome products.
There's still a reason to go to the dispensary if we had federal legalization. But the thing is that, you know, it's weird because we have people that, like, you know, come into our dispensary, you know, they hand us their ID, and like whole time they're like walking in and out, they're like, you know, are the cops like gonna follow me out. Well, it's like, dude,
You're still
because
stressed about that?
There's some people that, you know, there's a lot of people that don't care and they're normalized to it, but like first timers or older folks that are coming in for the first time, they're like,
and they don't trust the government.
Yeah, they're like, well, is this legit? You know what I mean? Like, they're not entirely certain, and it's like, it's weird for me because, you know, I've been smoking cannabis for 10 years, and I've been around people that have worked in the industry now for a while, and I just find it interesting that there are still people that are like sketched out. Yeah, I mean.
I guess the whole industry being corrupted thing comes down to, because maybe they're scared, like, oh, if you possess over a certain amount, they'll like pop you for like distributing or something. Because like if you sell without a license, you can get in trouble. I don't know. But I mean, the corruption on the corporate side, I think maybe that stems from just Chicago and Illinois, just being Chicago and Illinois, like Al Capone stuff. Like Al Capone literally like was friends with all the lawyers and the bankers and like politicians. Like maybe it's that all over again.
And just to preface, like, it's not anything that's like the cultivators like fault. Like all of the people that are growing the cannabis, that are supplying the cannabis, that are actually touching the plant, like it's nothing that they're doing. It's like the state that's like saying,
no, there's really passionate people in the industry.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that like, really care about cannabis and that want to grow the most potent flower and get the highest terp content and concentrates and stuff. But like, if you're not, you know, focused, or you don't have passionate people in like the politics side of things, it's going to be a gate-kept community where only the rich can play.
Yeah, I mean, the cannabis. So like, when you have passionate people working in the cannabis industry under a corporate company, it's like the bleeding heart syndrome. Like they're giving their all and just their heart is bleeding out. And then like the corporation is just reaping all the profits, while meanwhile, like the cannabis job itself is pretty dope to work in the industry, but it's like the corporation is like totally exploiting that, where that person that's doing that job could honestly start their own business in reality if the regulation wasn't so high, and maybe provide even more value to customers, you know, than they would have if they just worked for the corporation. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think the competition creates more innovation in the market. Right now, there's a lack of innovation in at least the Illinois market, just due to the limited the limited market, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I mean,
mic closer, by the way. It's not going to pick you up.
No, that's totally fair. I mean, the only people that are really able to get a handle on being able to sell in Illinois dispensaries are larger corporations, or, you know, that own multiple different brands. Because, you know, you see all these different brands when you walk into a dispensary. A lot of them are owned by like the same 4 main corporations.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of these dispensaries, they have specific backing from a specific 1 or 2 of these investors, large corporations. Yeah. So it's definitely, it's large scale corporate politics.
I mean, like, so like basically a qualification of being able to open a dispensary is you need investors. Like a lot of people don't have skills to get an investor. Like let me ask you this, like, do you personally know a millionaire that you could be like, yo, you want to like invest in this cannabis thing? Like, do you know anyone?
Me personally?
Yeah,
I do.
Oh shit. Okay, but what's the likelihood of you convincing that person to invest in you to start the business, right?
I mean, I feel like maybe I am a little biased in this because I do have experience, and I feel like if
you could make up for the experience that millionaire could lack, hypothetically, to where they'd want to invest.
I think, like, for example, if I had somebody that came to me and was like, hey, I want you to be the general manager of a dispensary, I think I could do that job.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, they'd be making an investment in me because that's, you know, they would have to pay, you know, the $16-20 million to stock our inventory. Up front, and then hope that we recoup that money.
But I'm talking about like the admin, like the actual operations of the whole thing. Like like renting the property, paying the water bill, paying the electric bill. I know that sounds like easy stuff, but then like all the metric tracking system. Do you mess with the metric tracking system? Like when you're messing with the inventory and stuff at the dispo job? I'm just curious.
It's BioTrack.
BioTrack. Well, that's interesting because I'm not familiar with that at all. Like honestly, in the hemp industry, it's just like you buy it, you sell it, you're done. Where in the regulated, it's all tracked, right?
It's all tracked because the thing is like say. Like you're only allowed a certain allotment of flour if you're in state or out of state. For Illinois, if you're in state, you can get 30 grams of flour, 5 grams of concentrate, and 500 milligrams of edibles per person. And that's for adult use. That's not medical or anything. If you're an out of state, guest, you are allowed half the allotment. So you're allowed 15 grams of flour.
Don't bring it out of state, buddy.
Yeah, 14 grams of flour, 250 milligrams of concentrate. I'm sorry.
2.5 gram.
So yeah, the thing is like you're allowed out of state people are allowed. Yeah, they're allowed 14 grams of flour, 2.5 grams of concentrate, and then 250 milligrams of edibles. But the thing is like if you go and max your allotment out at a dispensary,
you can go to the other one.
What's stopping you from going the one down the street? Well, the thing is that BioTrack is that all of the SKUs, all of the barcodes on all the products in the dispensary, they are linked to not only the store's inventory but also the state's like inventory in a way. And
that's crazy.
It tracks on your account. But the thing is like you can check out as a guest.
Oh,
right. So you can check out anonymously at my dispensary.
Oh,
so the thing is like it's kind of like the Boy Scouts honor system. You know what I mean? Because like if say you don't want to make an account or anything. I don't know like how they track that because it's not like the sales being made under an ID necessarily.
I can only imagine the money being wasted trying to track from store to store of how much someone's buying so they don't go over the state limit, and then just for someone to be like, oh, I want to check out as a guest today, and then like just bypass it, and all the like hundreds of thousands of dollars spent per month on that software and tracking is just down the toilet for what? And jacks up the price.
And also it creates a system for the state to audit these dispensaries and then fine them whenever they have any sort of discrepancy in their inventory or anything. Yeah. So the state, like they watch our cameras, like the state's watching the dispensary 24/7. And if something goes wrong, they can fine us, up to $10,000 per thing that goes wrong in their books.
So if I'm a customer in a dispensary and there's a camera, the state can access those cameras at any time and watch me buying weed, essentially, in Illinois.
Yeah.
Really? What is the purpose of that? Like,
basically, it's just a added security measure, but it's also just a way for them to track sales and purchases and.
So you don't go over your personal purchase limit.
Yeah, it's also just to make sure that the dispensary is operating within the laws.
Interesting, man. The state really has a stranglehold on the whole system. That's crazy. Make sure the employees are not like dealing Delta 8 out of the back or something. Yo, man, I got you on the low, bro. You want that cheaper? I got you on the THCA flower out the back.
Yeah, right. And that's another interesting thing I definitely want to talk to you about because it's something that I feel like it is interesting for me, having been in CBD Delta 8 industry before moving on into the legal cannabis market. Is people think that Delta 9, just because it has a Delta in front of it, it means it's like
synthetic
Delta 8 or it's not going to get them high or it's like fake weed or something.
Right.
Because they've heard about Delta 8. So when they see the Delta 9 on like our dispensary flower, they're like, what? You just sold me Delta 9 flower, dude? And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
Delta 9 is a CBD strain, bro. The dispo sold me CBD.
The only reason that Delta 9 would be on a dispensary product package is because there's trace amounts of Delta 9 in any cannabis flower that you're going to find.
Right, because flower grows as THCA. When you smoke it, it turns into delta-9 THC, and you're exhaling delta-9 THC.
Yeah, you have to sublimate it to break that hydrogen bond, that acetate off, and then you're able to just get delta-9 THC. But the thing is, it's like...
Whoa, THC acetate, bro? Isn't that like vitamin E acetate where you like got sick and go to the hospital, bro?
That's just THCA, brother.
Dude, THCA is laced, right? No? THCA is like synthetic, right?
The only thing that's like...
Is it synthetic sprayed flower?
I would say that... No. But like THCA is not THCOA.
Oh, yeah, the THCO acetate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's made synthetically, or I guess you could... No, that is fully synthetic, because the way they classify the cannabinoids are actually very specific. So if you were to take delta-8, that would be considered semi-synthetic because it occurs naturally in nature, but then they take CBD and convert it into delta-8 using chemistry, which is therefore semi-synthetic because it occurs in nature. But if you take THCO, which does not occur in nature, that would be considered fully synthetic because even though you're deriving it from CBD, you take CBD, put a chemical reaction, and then it turns into THCO, and then it gets you high, but that's not found in nature. So now it's considered fully synthetic, which is weird because I feel like the word fully synthetic and semi-synthetic is misleading because it actually refers to, does it occur in nature? And that's how the DEA actually differentiates which hemp cannabinoid is legal and which is not. And I actually learned that very recently.
That's super interesting. And I just find it massively interesting also as well that like with the THCA thing, like all of our flour is going to be the THC content is going to be represented as THCA on the flower.
Right.
And then we'll have people that buy the flower and they're like, you sold me THCA flower, dude. What is this? And I'm like, that's normal weed, bro. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's like, I feel like because of the Delta-8 market and it blew up, and I mean, we contributed to that. It might have kind of confused some people, but at the same time, it goes to show people are just ignorant in general, and they don't care about...
Before 2018, when hemp wasn't a thing, literally people just thought of hemp as like hemp rope, like hemp fiber, like, oh bro, like I have this hemp fiber hat, and we just thought of weed that gets you high. It's just weed, bro, like THC. But then hemp came and it's like THCA, Delta-8 THC, Delta-10 THC, CBD, and then like they learned that Delta-8 is only made semi-synthetically. They're like, oh, it's fake synthetic stuff. Yeah. And then they learned that THCA flower, which is real weed that is somehow now legal under the federal farm bill through a loophole, and they're like, that's synthetic too. And that's how they make this whole connection in their brain where, because like people that don't buy the hemp stuff, you have to be like honestly kind of a nerd to understand every nuance of it. Like regular people who just use weed, they just know it as weed.
If you're not a nerd about weed, then I mean that's okay. But the thing is like you can't be mad at your Budtender or something, or you can't be like pissy online if you're buying online and like being like, oh, what the hell? If you don't, you're not already like you got to do research before you buy stuff. Hands down. Before, like, that's the first thing I'll say, because like we have a lot of people that come in that are completely ignorant about the product, which is okay. That's why we're there. We want to be able to educate them. But at the same time, it's like if you're gonna say stuff like that, it's just as clear as day that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where they try to act like they know what they're talking about when they don't. Like I had this one guy comment on one of my videos, like. It was basically a staged video where I give my friend a Delta-9 gummy, and I was like, oh, lacing random people with gummies.
Oh my God.
And it was just a fake, like, funny video. It got like 100,000 views. And then the top comment was like, yo, that guy has mental issues because Delta-9 is a CBD strain. It don't get you high. I'm like,
Delta-9 is a CBD strain?
No, yeah, that's what they said, bro. Delta-9 is just regular THC. People don't get that.
Yeah. So something that's really interesting, do you know what happens to Delta-9? Like, so say you take a like live resin cartridge or like a live resin gram. Okay. Like a gram of rosin or a live resin.
Concentrate.
Yeah, concentrate. Do you know what happens if you were to just like leave it and not smoke it for
converts into CBN.
Yeah, it converts slowly into CBN, so it would be like
CBN is less dank, it's less potent.
Well, it's not going to get you as high. It's not as psychoactive, but CBN is going to knock you the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah, it knocks you the fuck out as in makes you sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. So we messed up the camera and it cut off. We only got 30 minutes of footage and the whole podcast is like 3 hours. So we're going to do a round 2 and kind of do a whole new video later. But hey, we got this video. We're going to chop it up into a bunch of shorts. If you like this video, subscribe, and we're going to do another podcast soon. But I want to thank Adam for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Chris. I appreciate you.
We'll do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah.